This is the gameplay demonstration Let's Play video for Space Storm by Titan Division, a VR arcade space shooter, although for the majority of this video we are going to be looking at the non-VR version as it is simply easier to record. However, there will be some footage of the window mirror display of the VR version just to show some of the differences between the non-VR version and this version. So here we are on the title screen, set within the same ship as we'll be seeing in the main gameplay. You can see the logo title screen, a little instruction on how to start the game, and the high score table. Note that in VR this is in 3D depth, so the logo and push fire to start do appear further into the distance than the high score table. So we'll push fire to start. I'm using a flight stick and keyboard to control this game. As we hit start, we fly into the portal into the asteroid field. That's on exiting the portal, we're in the asteroid field, and immediately I can see a drone spawner, so let's fly over to it and shoot the drones that come out. As you can see, we get points for shooting drones, obviously, as in many games of this, and we can see the combo system in play. Every time you hit a drone, the combo goes up. After a set amount of time, the combo will run out, and the amount of points that you gained in that combo are added to your score. This rewards players for playing well and destroying lots of drones within a short time span of each other. So the controls for the game are fairly simple. Using the flight stick, you simply steer the flight stick around to affect your yaw and your pitch. You can hold the button down on the flight stick, along with turning left and right, to roll. There are two buttons on the side of the stick which allow you to strafe left and right, which in conjunction with steering left and right, as we'll demonstrate here, allows for a semi-circle strafing manoeuvre, which can be very useful for turning around to find enemies, as I'm doing right now. And I've rammed myself into an enemy and killed myself, not even got a high enough score to get on the high score table. So we'll let the game return back to the main menu, and we'll try again, so that we can show off perhaps one or two of the power-ups in the game. There are 4 power-ups in the game: shield, double damage, laser and EMP. And they are dropped by enemies. These standard drones here can drop the shield and double damage. That red crystal there is a double damage, and we have a blue one for the shield. So if we demonstrate the shield, you can see it turns the HUD hearts blue, and the shield essentially makes us impervious to enemy fire for a set amount of time. It does not, however, make you impervious to ramming attacks or flying into asteroids where you will die immediately. Now the double damage, your laser cannon, or laser gun, the cannon is separate, gets powered up and your shots are twice as powerful. Note that the enemy spawners can also be destroyed, and they get you points as well. Let's go find that last drone or two from this wave. As you can see as well, when I defeated enough drones, it claimed that the next wave was ready. Well, next wave was approaching even, and that we should get ready. I'm not going to try and run into him while he's that close. There we go. You can hear the drones are shooting at us a lot. Let's put our shield on. The shield also has a chance of giving the player some health as well. Give them a fighting chance in this asteroid battlefield. In fact, we'll activate the shield and the double damage for maximum drone destroying efficiency. And as well as all the other controls, there's also a boost function. However, to make it so you can't just boost everywhere, your ship does have a much wider turning circle when not boosting. Wait, a wider turning circle when boosting even, and you can't fire your weapon when you're boosting. Just to make it that much more difficult. Right, let's use the shield again. I'm running rather low on health. So the objective of the game, as it may seem obvious, survive and destroy as many drones as you can. The drones come at you in 5 waves. We are on wave 2 currently. And the next wave basically starts approaching when you have dwindled the enemy forces enough, and they start sending in more more drones. And as the waves go on, the complexity of the drones increases as well. For the first two waves, we just have these standard swarmer drones. They just orbit you and shoot you. We have the next wave approaching. Wave 3 introduces the bomber drones. So when we encounter those, we will see that they like to fly towards the player and essentially ram into them. Although first we can deal with these standard swarmer drones that are coming up over here. When the enemies are lined up like this, it's a prime opportunity for a combo. That is, if you're good at aiming. Use of a flight stick is generally recommended for the game, as you have much larger sort of you have a much larger sort of travel, allowing for extra precision with your aiming. But the game does support standard Xbox controllers for those who don't own flight sticks. Actually, we will pick up this crystal here. And we'll turn on the invincibility. Oh. And I died before we got to see the bomber drone. Well, we can see it there. Since I've died, I'll enter my name in the high score screen. As you can see, I've playtested this a decent amount. I've entered either my name or just a random amount of letters. This is just simply controlled with the flight stick. And we get returned to the main menu. As we shall see here. So what I shall do now, to avoid having to get good enough to play through the game far enough to get to a wave with the shield heavy drones, I shall load up the Unreal Engine 4 editor, and we will skip to a wave that includes the heavy drone to see if we can encounter one. As this is an arcade game or arcade-inspired game, the aim of the difficulty curve is supposed to be fairly difficult to allow for extra replayability, to challenge players to aim for a high score. Right, we will cut over to the Unreal Engine 4 editor then. So one thing that hasn't actually been shown off yet is that if a spawner has yet to finish spawning all of its drones, you can shoot at it and destroy it. And all its drones will come out like that. And these are actually the shield drones that we were going to take a look at. So if we just boost past them so we can turn around and take a nicer look at them when we find where they are again. Oh no, these are the bomber drones. Where are the shield ones? Where have they gone? They were just here, just a moment ago. I've actually lost them, where are they? The bomber drones are a bit of a concern though, so it'd be a good idea if I take some of them out first. Oh, here they are. I see them now, spinning around. We can actually demonstrate the laser power-up as well, which does a lot more damage. Now the heavy drones, their shields are up most of the time, except for when they shoot their projectiles at the player. If we approach them correctly, we might be able to see that happening. If we approach them correctly. Or I could just die. There we go. Shield drone takes down its shields. We'll just enter in a random series of letters. So, kind of hard to show the shield drones. They do have their shields up most of the time, but they are intended to be the hardest enemies in the game. So for real skilled players to really show off that they've mastered the game. And so next we will move on to the small VR preview, just to show how the VR sort of works in the game. So here we are in the VR view. We are currently in the menu. As you can see, being in VR, we can look around the ship, and we can even see our character here, who is roughly life-sized, to give a good amount of immersion. Very high shoulder pads on his armour though. And as we can see, the menu is exactly the same. We'll push fire to start, go through the portal, and wait for the level to load. So once we're in VR, gameplay is exactly the same as in the standard non-VR game, except that you have a much wider field of vision in order to be able to see the drones, which can come in very handy for being able to spot them when they've circled around you. And I must apologise for the lower quality of the gameplay, due to the main thing I was going to apologise for, the lower frame rate of this capture. This is partly due to VR not being as well suited to many laptops as it is to most desktop computers with more powerful graphics hardware. As you can see, we activated the power-ups just as usual on the non-VR. Now of course, with VR, you also have the option of the Leap Motion hand sensor, which would be mounted on the front of the VR headset, and you would move your hands in sort of real space in order to touch the power-up cells on the dashboard of the ship. Let's turn on the shield. I think that will be handy. And so, yep, we can look around to find the drones. Wow, I somehow did not get close enough to that one to die. And the next wave is approaching. And of course, in the level, your character is still here. Still got very big shoulder pads. And actually, we will demonstrate one final feature of the game. As you can see, the asteroid field is not infinite. So, it may, a player may wonder what happens if they were to leave the asteroid field. So we shall demonstrate what happens to the player should they decide to leave the area of play. They're told to get back to the fight, and if they don't get back to the fight quickly enough, they are killed. Which is not a nice way for them to end their game. This concludes the video demonstration Let's Play of Spacestorm by Titan Division.